Welcome to the heart of Victorian London, aglow with the spirit of Christmas. The streets are a tapestry of joyous scenes, families and carolers, their voices harmonizing in a chorus of holiday cheer, create a lively ambience. Amidst this festive bustle, a young man, Fred, Scrooge's kind-hearted nephew, makes his way through the crowd. His journey takes him to a starkly contrasting destination, a cold, unwelcoming shop belonging to his uncle, Ebenezer Scrooge, a man as frigid and unyielding as the winter itself. Within these gloomy walls, Bob Cratchit, Scrooge's hard-pressed clerk, attempts to find solace in the scant warmth of a small coal fire. Watch now as Fred steps into this somber realm, his presence a beacon of holiday spirit in the shadow of his uncle's austerity. His arrival signals the start of a Christmas Eve that promises to be anything but ordinary in the life of Ebenezer Scrooge.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah! Humbug.
Christmas is a humbug, Uncle. I hope that's meant as a joke.
Well, it's not. What is it that you want? Don't waste my day, nephew.
I only want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Don't be cross, please.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. Out with Merry Christmas. What's Christmas to you but a time to pay bills without money? A time to find yourself a year older, but not 1 hour richer. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes around with Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
But you don't keep it.
Then leave it alone then. Much good it may do you. Much good it has ever done you.
There are many things from which I might have found enjoyment by which I've never profited. I'd say Christmas among the rest, and though it has never put a scrap of gold in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless it.
Bah!
Look, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow.
I'll dine alone. Thank you.
But why?
Why did you get married?
Why? Because I fell in love with a wonderful girl.
And I fell in love with being alone.
No, Uncle. But you never came to see me before I was married. How can you give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I am really sorry with all my heart to find you so determined. But I have made the attempt to honor Christmas, and I'll keep that good spirit to the last. So a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year, too.
I said good afternoon!
In the chilly confines of Scrooge's counting house, the warm-hearted pleasantries of Fred clash with the icy rebuffs of his uncle. Despite Fred's attempts to kindle a spark of holiday cheer in Scrooge's hardened heart, each cheerful greeting and invitation is met with a cold, dismissive, bah, humbug, and cynical retorts. As Fred's hope of sharing the joy of Christmas with his uncle fades, he hesitates, perhaps wanting to say more, to breach the frosty barrier around Scrooge's heart. But seeing his uncle turn away, he resigns to leave, his parting wishes of Merry Christmas and Happy New Year lingering unanswered in the air.
Bells. Is it always necessary to have bells?
Scrooge grumbles as the next chapter of our Christmas Eve tale unfolds with the arrival of the gentleman visitor.
Cratchit!
Yes, sir?
The bell, fool! See to it!
Yes, sir.
Christmas. Wolves howling. And a Merry Christmas.
It's for you, sir.
Well, of course it's for me. You're not receiving callers, are you? Show them in.
Right this way, sir.
Yes. I said yes?
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's dead. 7 years tonight he's been dead. What is it that you want?
I have no doubt that his kindness is well represented by his surviving partner. Here, sir, have my card.
Kindness? No doubt of it? Alright, I can read. What is it that you want?
At this festive season of the year...
It's winter, and it's cold.
Yes, it is. And the more reason for my visit. At this time of year, it is more than usually desirable to make some slight provision for the poor and the penniless who suffer greatly from the cold. Many thousands are in want of common necessities. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comfort, sir.
Oh, are there no debtors' prisons?
Many, sir.
And the workhouses, are they still in operation?
It is still. I wish I could say that it was not.
The poor law is still in full strength then?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to hear it. From what you said, I was afraid someone had stopped its operation.
Under the impression that they barely provide Christian cheer of mind or body to many people, a few of us are hoping to raise funds to buy some meat and drink and means of warmth. We chose this time because it is the time of all others when witty is strongly felt and abundance rejoices. May I put you down for something, sir?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish, sir, that's my answer. I don't make merry at Christmas and can't afford to make lazy people merry. I help support establishments that I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those who are poorly off must go there.
Many can't go there, and many would rather die.
If they would rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. That is not my affair. My business is. It occupies me constantly.
The gentleman visitor, his plea for charity met with Scrooge's harsh words and indifference, finds no more words to sway the miser's heart. The weight of Scrooge's callous, if they would rather die, hangs heavy in the air. As the gentleman departs, his steps echo in the silent room, each footfall a reminder of the coldness that pervades Scrooge's world. Left alone, Scrooge mutters to himself, his thoughts a mix of self-justification and disdain for charity. Absorbed in his books, a distant bell rings, barely registering in his consciousness, a faint reminder of the world outside his counting house.
Ask a man to give up life and means. Fine thing. What is it? I want to know, charity. Damned charity. Latch the door, Cratchit. Firmly. Firmly! Draft as cold as Christmas blowing in here. Charity. Cratchit! Cratchit!
Yes, sir?
Get back to work.
It's evening, sir.
Is it?
Christmas evening, sir.
Oh. You want tomorrow off, I suppose.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient. And it's not fair. If I was to deduct half a crown from your salary for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, wouldn't you? Still, you expect me to pay a day's wage for a day of not working.
It's only once a year, sir.
Just be here early the next morning.
I will, sir.
Then off. Off!
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas, sir.
The door swings open, and immediately the vibrant sounds of the street pour in, a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere of the counting house. Bob Cratchit, momentarily released from the day's labors, steps into the lively world outside. He finds himself swiftly swept up in a current of people, their festive spirits high. Children, full of winter's joy, pull him along to an ice slide. With a rare moment of abandon, Cratchit runs and slides down, his laughter merging with the jubilant crowd, before he vanishes into the evening's growing darkness. The stage, much like Scrooge's world, is left almost empty. Inside, Scrooge, now alone, moves methodically around the room, extinguishing candles one by one, his mutterings to himself a stark echo in the quiet space. The contrast between the warmth of the world outside and the cold solitude of Scrooge's existence is palpable as the night deepens.
Christmas Eve, carolers. Say bye. There, just another day. Black, very black. Now where are they? Begging pennies for their songs, are they? Oh boy!
Our scene shifts to the cold, solitary streets where Ebenezer Scrooge makes his way home, his footsteps crunching in the snow. The echo of a large gate creaks open, a stark contrast to the quiet of the night. And then thuds shut, enveloping Scrooge in an eerie silence as he continues his journey. As he approaches his house, a place as unwelcoming as the man himself, an air of foreboding hangs heavy. Little does Scrooge know, this night will be unlike any other, a night where the past and present merge and the chains of his own making begin to rattle. Let us follow him into the dark corridors of his home and witness the haunting that awaits.
The house of Ebenezer Scrooge, yes. Here's the key. Sparse it.
Yes, sir.
Hurry, the door, close it. Just close it.
Did you knock, sir?
Knock? What does it matter here? Light me up the stairs.
Yes, sir.
Reeling from the startling vision of Jacob Marley's face that had emerged from the darkness at his doorstep, Ebenezer Scrooge now finds himself ascending the stairs of his dimly lit home, guided by Sparsit's flickering lamp. His heart still pounds from the ghostly encounter, a harrowing reminder of his long-departed business partner. As they climb, the abrupt appearance of the cook momentarily jolts Scrooge, a stark intrusion into his troubled thoughts. In these shadowy halls, every unexpected sight seems to echo the haunting he has just experienced.
Something to warm you, sir? Porridge?
What? No, nothing.
The cook lingers momentarily, his hand outstretched in hopeful anticipation of the customary Christmas coin from Scrooge.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Indifferent to the cook's hopeful gaze for a Christmas coin, Scrooge dismisses him with nary a word. As he vanishes into the shadows of the house, Scrooge makes clear his thoughts, continues to trail Sparsit through the dimly lit hallways.
Fright a man nearly out of his life. Merry Christmas. Bah!
Your room, sir.
Oh, yes. And good night.
Now at Scrooge's chamber, Sparsit pauses, subtly extending his hand in expectation of a Christmas gratuity. This second silent solicitation for a coin only heightens Scrooge's growing irritation, his patience wearing thin in the face of these customary yet unwelcome holiday gestures.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Out! I said out!
No sooner does Scrooge close the door on Sparsit than he turns, only to find himself unexpectedly face to face with the Charwoman. Her sudden presence in the dimly lit corridor, just moments after his encounter with Sparsit, catches Scrooge off guard, further unsettling him in the confines of his own home.
Warm your bed for you, sir.
What? Out!
Yes, sir.
Get out!
As the Charwoman makes her way towards the door, a faint mumbling voice permeates the air. It's Marley's voice, ghostly and unintelligible, a whisper from the beyond that seems to hang in the cold, still room. Scrooge, already on edge, pauses, a sense of unease deepening within him.
What's that?
Me, sir. Not a thing, sir.
Then good night.
Good night.
With the Charwoman's departure, The room regains its stillness. Scrooge, alone once more, pantomimes the act of shutting the door behind her, as if to firmly close off the world outside. In this silent gesture, he reinforces the barriers of his solitary existence. In the eerie quiet of his room, Scrooge is haunted by a voice he cannot place. Compelled to seek its source, he climbs to open a window, peering into the night. There, the distant sounds of a celebration, perhaps a choir, drift faintly to his ears. But Scrooge, ever resistant to the spirit of the season, quickly shuts the window, cutting off the distant echoes of joy. He prepares for bed in a room now silent, but for his own movements. As he does, a vision momentarily fills his room, figures moving as if in a sacred procession, a stark contrast to the solitude of his chambers. The dropping of a small handbell from his nightcap disrupts the stillness, its ring echoing in the vast emptiness of the room. In a rush to find solace in his bed, the ringing of the bell seems to grow louder, a cacophony in his mind before abruptly ceasing. But peace eludes him. The unmistakable sound of chains dragging up the stairs invades the silence. Gripped by a growing dread, Scrooge reaches desperately for the bell pull, only to be answered by a resounding gong. And there, before him, stands the ghostly figure of Marley, his departed partner, confronting Scrooge in the dim, flickering light of his bedroom.
What do you want from me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask who I was.
Okay. Who were you?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
He's dead.
7 years this night, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Why do you come here?
I must. It is commanded me. I must wander the world and see what I can no longer share. What I would not share when I walked where you do now.
Seriously, do I have to do this?
The chain. Look at it, Ebenezer. Study it. Locks and vaults and golden coins. I forged it. Each link, each day when I sat in these chairs, commanded these rooms. Greed, Ebenezer Scrooge. Wealth. Feel them. Know them. Yours was as heavy as this I wear 7 years ago, and you have labored to build it ever since.
If you're here to lecture, I have no time for it. It's late, the night is cold, I want comfort now. Quickly then, quickly.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that even possible?
Mark it.
I do not choose to.
Then you will walk where I do, burdened by your riches, your greed.
Spirits mean nothing to me.
Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1, the second the next night at the same hour, the third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ended. Look to see me no more. I must wander.
Jacob, don't leave me! Jacob! Jacob!
Goodbye, Ebenezer.
As we leave behind the ghostly presence of Marley, our tale takes a turn into the realm of the ethereal. Imagine, if you will, a shadowy funeral procession emerging from the mists of Scrooge's troubled thoughts. A solemn boy leads the way, followed by a priest with a gently swinging censer, their figures barely more than whispers in the darkness. The air around us is tinged with the subtle sounds of morning and the distant, echoing strains of a somber melody. In the midst of this spectral scene, Scrooge's voice, filled with fear and desperation, calls out into the void,
"Jacob, don't leave."
It's as if he's speaking from the depths of a haunting dream. Seeking refuge from this unsettling vision, Scrooge hastily closes his bed curtains. Yet the sound of tolling bells persists, merging with the chimes of a clock striking the hour. Each chime resonates through the quiet of his room, with Scrooge sitting up in bed, counting them one by one, a growing sense of unease accompanying the passage of time. Our story continues on this eerie Christmas Eve, each moment drawing us deeper into the night and the mysteries it holds.
8, 9, 10, 11. It can't be 12. Midnight? No, it's not 12. It can't be. I haven't slept the whole day through. 12? Yes. 12 noon.
With a sense of urgency propelling him, Scrooge hastens to the window, his movements quick and anxious. As he pulls back the curtain to peer into the night, there's a palpable tension in his actions, a man grappling with the uncertainty of time lost and the deep enveloping darkness that greets him.
It's dark. 12 midnight. I must get up, a day wasted. Must go to the office.
In the stillness of the room, the sudden sound of two soft chimes breaks the silence. These gentle yet unexpected tones resonate in the air, adding to the night's growing mystery and Scrooge's sense of unease.
1:15. But it just rang 12. 15 minutes hasn't gone by, not so quickly.
Again, the room is filled with the sound of two small chimes, clear and distinct. The progression of these chimes, marking the quarter hour in the deep of night, creates an aura of anticipation and heightens Scrooge's awareness of the impending visit.
1:45. The spirit. It's come at me. 1.
The solemn toll of the clock reaches its culmination, striking one with a final resonant chime. In the stillness that follows, Scrooge sits in his bed, the weight of the hour hanging heavily in the air. This singular chime marks not just the time, but also the arrival of a moment Scrooge has been anxiously awaiting. The room is filled with anticipation, every shadow seeming to quiver in expectation of the spirit's imminent appearance. In the silence following the ghostly sound, a new presence gently asserts itself in Scrooge's room. Emerging from the shadows, the first spirit appears, its essence radiating a soft, otherworldly light. This figure, embodying a masculine presence, is the spirit of Christmas past. Shimmering and elusive, the spirit stands before Scrooge, a silent herald of the journey that lies ahead. Scrooge, facing this ethereal visitor, finds himself at the brink of an extraordinary odyssey that will take him through the hidden corridors of his own history.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
Your past.
Why are you here?
Your welfare. Rise. Walk with me.
I'm a mortal still. I cannot pass through air.
My hand.
In the moment of resolve, Scrooge reaches out, his hand clasping that of the spirit. As their hands unite, a distant, almost imperceptible sound fills the air, like the gentle ringing of a far-off bell. This subtle chime ushers in a wave of nostalgia, transporting Scrooge back to a long-forgotten scene from his youth. Before him unfolds a memory. Two boys in the midst of childhood, their faces bright with recognition and friendship, greeting each other warmly on the streets of his past. This vivid recollection, sparked by the spirit's touch, offers Scrooge a poignant glimpse into the innocence and joy of his early years.
Hello, Jack.
Ben, Merry Christmas, Ben.
Jack Walton. Young Jack Walton. Spirits.
Have a good holiday, Jack.
Yes. Yes, I remember him. Both of them. Little Ben Benjamin. He used to...
See you next term, Jack. Next term.
They're off for the holidays and going home from school. It's Christmas time. All the children off, heading home. No, not at all. There was one.
Guided by the spirit's silent gesture, Scrooge turns to behold a scene steeped in nostalgia. There, in the quiet corner of his recollections, he sees a younger version of himself. The boy, isolated yet content, is deeply engrossed in conversation with a teddy bear, his childhood companion. This simple, solitary play, rich with imagination, offers a stark contrast to the Scrooge we know, revealing a glimpse of the innocent child he once was.
Yes, reading. Poor boy.
What, I wonder?
Reading? Oh. It was nothing. Fancy. All fancy and make-believe and take me away. All of it. Yes, nonsense.
As Scrooge continues to observe the young boy, his own self in childhood, the scene shifts subtly, the child's imagination coming alive with the tales that once captivated his heart.
Alibaba.
Yes, that was it.
Gee, take me to the gates of Damascus.
Yes, O master, and jewels I shall bring you, in gold and myrrh and frankincense.
And they put him down. Do you remember? That silly one, at the gate of Damascus. In his underdoors, asleep.
Yes, the genie turned the Sultan's groom upside down, stood him on his head. Serves him right, I say.
And all the thieves in the jars of oil.
Caught up in the vivid tapestry of his childhood memories, Scrooge momentarily sheds the layers of his hardened exterior. In a burst of childlike playfulness, he mimics the actions of a swashbuckling hero, brandishing an imaginary scimitar. With each pretend thrust, he stabs at the jars of oil, reenacting a scene from the tales that once sparked his imagination. This uncharacteristic display of whimsy reveals a glimpse of the joyful, imaginative boy Scrooge once was, a stark contrast to the somber man he has become.
Yes, and running them through this and this and this for each of you.
Yes, and remember, Robinson Crusoe.
And the parrot.
Yes, the parrot. I love him best.
In a moment of whimsy, Scrooge surprises even himself. He begins to imitate the parrot from his beloved childhood stories, his voice taking on the squawking, playful tones of the bird. This simple act of mimicry, so out of character for the stern and serious man we know, is a poignant flashback to a time of innocence and joy. Through this playful imitation, we see a fleeting return to the carefree days of his youth, a time when imagination and stories brought him happiness.
With his stripy green body and yellow tail trooping along, and couldn't sing, but he could talk, and a thing like lettuce growing out the top of his head, and he used to sit on the very top of the tree up there.
And Robinson Crusoe sailed around the island, and he thought the parrot said,
Robinson Crusoe, where have you been? Robinson Crusoe, where have you been?
And Robinson Crusoe looked up in the tree and saw the parrot, and he knew he hadn't escaped, and he was still there, still all alone. Poor Robinson Crusoe.
The scene shifts subtly, mirroring the changing emotions in Scrooge's heart. The young boy, once lively in his imaginative play, now gently and sadly places his teddy bear aside. This tender act, filled with a quiet sense of melancholy, speaks volumes. It's a poignant reminder of the loneliness that often accompanied the young Scrooge, a stark contrast to the vibrant world of his imagination. In this simple gesture, we see a glimpse of the solitude that marked his childhood, foreshadowing the isolation of his future.
Poor child. Poor child.
Why poor?
Fancy. But it's his way. It's a child's way to lose being alone in dreams. Dreams never really matter if they're all nonsense. Yes, nonsense. But he'll be all right. Grow out of it. Yes. Yes, he did outgrow it. The nonsense. Became a man. And left there. He became a man. And yes, successful, rich. Never matter. Never matter.
Into this quiet scene of solitude, a new figure bursts with youthful energy. It's Fan, Scrooge's sister, her presence like a ray of light piercing the gloom of Scrooge's childhood memories. She runs, her steps light and full of life, directly to the young Scrooge. In her approach, there's a sense of warmth and affection, a stark contrast to the loneliness that just moments ago enveloped the boy. This reunion, joyful and tender, highlights the special bond shared between the siblings, a bond that once brought a rare happiness to Scrooge's early life.
It's Fan.
Brother, dear brother.
In a gesture filled with sibling love and affection, Fan leans forward and gently kisses the young Scrooge. This simple act is a vivid symbol of the care and tenderness that marked their relationship. For Scrooge, watching this memory unfold, it's a poignant reminder of a time when warmth and love were not so distant. The kiss, innocent and loving, serves as a stark contrast to the cold, isolated life Scrooge has led as an adult, highlighting a connection that was once a source of great joy and comfort in his otherwise lonely childhood.
Dear Fan.
I've come to bring you home. Home for good and ever. Come with me. Come now.
Fan takes her brother's hand, ready to lead him into a world of childhood adventures. But just as they begin to run off, the spirit intervenes, halting their playful escape. With a silent, commanding gesture, it signals for the light that illuminates them to dim, bringing a pause to their joyful departure. Both Fan and the young Scrooge turn to look at the spirit, a dawning awareness in their eyes. They seem to understand their part in this spectral journey, their roles in the unfolding education of the older Scrooge. This moment, frozen in time, is a poignant blend of youthful innocence and the profound lessons that the spirit seeks to impart.
Spirit, let me watch him go. Let me be happy for a moment. A delicate child. A breath might have withered her.
She dies a woman and had, as I remember, children.
One child.
Your nephew.
Yes. Fred, my nephew.
As the echoes of his past linger in the air, Scrooge stands still for a moment, visibly touched by the flood of memories. His usual stern demeanor softens, revealing a hint of the sadness that lies beneath. Struggling to articulate his feelings, he attempts to explain, his voice tinged with melancholy. There's a sense of him trying to make sense of these emotions, to rationalize them in a way that fits within the walls he's built around his heart. Yet, even as he speaks, it's clear that these memories have reached a part of him long hidden away, stirring a deep and poignant sorrow.
Well, all of us have that, haven't we? Childhood's sadness. But we grow and we become men, masters of ourselves.
With a graceful, almost ethereal movement, the spirit gestures, beckoning forth the melody of Fezziwig's Party. At first, the music seems like a distant echo, a faint tune carried on the winds of memory. But slowly it grows clearer, filling the space around Scrooge, enveloping him in its warm, lively rhythms. As the music swells, Scrooge's attention is captured. He becomes acutely aware of its presence, the notes stirring within him a cascade of long-forgotten feelings. It's as if the music bridges the gap between past and present, bringing to life the joyous moments of his youth.
Oh there, Ebenezer, Dick.
It's Fezziwig. It's old Fezziwig that I apprenticed under.
Your master?
Oh yes, the best that any boy could have. Ah, there's Dick Wilkins. Bless me. He was very much attached to me and Dick. Poor Dick. Dear, dear.
Yo-ho, my boys. No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's leave the shutters up before the man can say Jack Robinson.
As the music fills the air, the scene transforms into a vivid tableau of holiday cheer. Chandeliers, glimmering with light, are hoisted into position, casting a warm glow over the festivities. The room blooms with festive decorations. Mistletoe, holly, and ivy are artfully draped over every surface by bustling servants, adding to the sense of merriment. The stage comes alive with dancers, their movements a whirl of color and joy. As they celebrate Fezziwig's wonderful Christmas party, laughter mingles with the music, creating an atmosphere of unbridled happiness. Servants weave through the crowd, their arms laden with huge platters of food, offering a feast to match the occasion. Amidst this joyous celebration, a pause in the music offers a moment of anticipation. The young Ebenezer, caught up in the dance and the spirit of the party, calls out, his voice echoing the happiness and excitement that fills the room.
Mr. Fezziwig, sir, you're a wonderful master.
A wonderful master. Wonderful master.
Abruptly, the scene takes an unexpected turn. The music shifts, its melody warping into something unrecognizable, jarring. The dancers, once lively and graceful, are now caught in a bizarre tableau. Their movements become distorted, their postures unnatural, as if controlled by some unseen force. They begin to move in slow motion, each step deliberate and eerie, transforming the once a joyful dance into something haunting. As this unsettling spectacle unfolds, the celebrants start to exit, their departure marked by a ghoulish dance that echoes the discordant sounds. The festive atmosphere of Fezziwig's party fades, giving way to a surreal, almost nightmarish vision, leaving an imprint of unease and bewilderment.
Just because he gave us a pardon, it was very small.
Small?
He spent a few pounds off your mortal money. 3, 4 at the most. Is that so much that he deserves the praise?
But it wasn't about the money. He had the power to make us happy, to transform our work from a heavy burden into something just a little more joyful. The sense of happiness and contentment he provided was invaluable, far beyond what any amount of money could offer. That's what a good master is.
Yes?
No, nothing.
Something, I think.
I would like to say a word or two to my clerk just now. That's all.
But this is all in your past. Your clerk Cratchit couldn't be here.
No, of course not. An idle thought. Are we done?
Nearly.
With a fluid, graceful motion, the spirit summons the next phase of this spectral journey. The air, previously filled with discordant tones, now awaits a new melody. As if answering an invisible call, the strains of waltz music begin to rise, gently at first, then growing in confidence and elegance. The rhythm of the waltz, classic and timeless, spins its way through the space, inviting a return to a more refined and harmonious moment in the past. The shift in music heralds a change in the scene, setting the stage for what is to come as memories continue to unfold in this dance of time.
Surely it's enough. Haven't you tormented me enough?
I only showed the past, what it promised you. Look, another promise.
As the waltz envelops the room in its graceful embrace, our gaze is drawn to a young Ebenezer, lost in the dance with his sweetheart. Their movements are fluid and synchronized, a beautiful display of youthful love and connection. The couple moves together in perfect harmony, their waltz a visual representation of their affection and hope. In this moment, the young Ebenezer we see is a far cry from the hardened man he will become, his face alight with happiness and his heart clearly full. This tender scene offers a glimpse into a time in Scrooge's life when love and joy were still very much a part of his world.
Oh, yes. I had forgotten her. Don't they dance beautifully? So young. So young. I would have married her if only.
Can you love me, Ebenezer? I bring no dowry into my marriage, only me, only love. It is no currency that you can buy and sell with, but we can live with it. Can you?
In a moment laden with emotion, the young woman, once twirling joyously with Ebenezer, comes to a poignant pause. With a gesture heavy with unspoken words and a deep sense of regret, she slowly extends her hand towards him, returning the ring that once symbolized their pledge to one another. This act, simple yet profound, marks the dissolution of a promise and the fading of a dream they once shared. The ring, a small circle of metal yet immense in its significance, is a silent testament to the path not taken, to a future that will never be. As she relinquishes this token of their love, it signifies not only the end of their engagement, but also the closing of a chapter in both of their lives.
I release you, Ebenezer, for the love of the man you once were. Will that man win me again, now that he is free?
If only you held me to it. You should not have let me go. I was young. I did love you.
We have never lied to one another. May you be happy in the life you have chosen. Goodbye.
With the return of the ring, a finality settles over the scene. The young woman, heart heavy with the sorrow of what must be done, turns and runs out, leaving behind a chapter of her life that can no longer be. Her departure is swift, yet laden with the weight of a love relinquished. In her wake, young Ebenezer remains, his movements slowed by the crushing realization of his loss. He leaves the scene with a deliberateness that speaks volumes, each step an echo of the heartbreak and the profound change this moment heralds in his life. It's a departure, not just from the room, but from the path of love and connection he once walked.
No, it was not meant that way.
You cannot change now what you want not change then. I am your mistakes, Ebenezer Scrooge. All of the things that you could have done and did not.
Then leave me. I am done with it all. I shall live with them, as I have, as I do, and as I will.
There is another Christmas, 7 years ago, when Marley died.
No, I will not see it. I will not. He dies. I could not have prevented it. I did not choose for him to die on Christmas Day.
And when this day was chosen, what did you do then?
I looked after his affairs.
His business?
Yes, his business. Mine. It was all I had, all that I could do in this world. I have nothing to do with the world to come after.
Then I will leave you.
Not yet. Don't leave me here. Tell me, what must I do? What are the other spirits?
They will come.
And you? What about you?
I am always with you.
As the poignant scene of his lost love fades away, Scrooge finds himself back in the dimly lit confines of his bedroom, the memories still echoing in his mind. He moves towards his bed, each step a somber reflection of the emotions stirred by the past. The memories leave him feeling numb, his usual sharp demeanor softened by the ghostly visitation. Settling into bed, He is enveloped by the silence of his room, a stark contrast to the vivid scenes he has just witnessed. It is in this quiet, reflective state that the sound of his bell suddenly chimes, clear and unexpected. Startled from his reverie, Scrooge sits up, instantly alert. A new light begins to emerge within the room. It's a soft, inviting glow that slowly grows, piercing the room's shadows and drawing Scrooge's attention. With a mixture of curiosity and caution, he rises from his bed, his movements hesitant yet compelled. As he approaches the source of the light, the figure of the second spirit becomes clear. This is the spirit of Christmas Present, a being whose appearance strikingly resembles that of Fezziwig, a figure from Scrooge's happier past. The spirit's familiar visage, warm and jovial, stands in stark contrast to the solemnity of the previous spirit, promising a different kind of journey through the Christmas, that is.
Fezziwig!
Hello, Scrooge.
But you can't be. Not Fezziwig.
Do you see me as him?
I do.
And hear me as him?
I do.
I wish I were the gentleman so as not to disappoint you.
But you're not.
No, Mr. Scrooge. You have never seen the like of me before. I am the ghost of Christmas Present.
But...
You see what you will see, Scrooge, no more. Will you walk out with me this Christmas Eve?
But I'm not dressed yet.
Take my tails, dear boy. We're leaving.
Wait!
What is it now?
Christmas present, did you say?
I did?
Then we're traveling here. In town. London. You know, just down there.
Yes, of course.
Then could we walk? Your flying is, well, maybe too sudden for an old man.
It's your Christmas, Scrooge. I'm only the guide.
In the presence of the spirit of Christmas Present, Scrooge finds himself grappling with uncertainty. A puzzled expression crosses his face as he contemplates the nature of this encounter. The ability to walk alongside a spirit, to journey beyond the confines of his room, leaves him bewildered. His question, tinged with a mix of curiosity and apprehension, hangs in the air.
Then can we walk?
It's a query born from a sense of wonder and a hint of skepticism. The spirit, embodying the essence of Christmas Present, responds to Scrooge's query with a simple yet affirming nod. This silent gesture speaks volumes, confirming the reality of the journey that lies ahead. The spirit's nod serves as a silent invitation, a beckoning into a world unseen and a Christmas yet to be experienced. Scrooge, now assured of his ability to venture forth with this enigmatic guide, readies himself for what promises to be an enlightening excursion, filled with sights and revelations yet unknown.
Where are you guiding me to?
Bob Cratchit.
My clerk?
You did want to talk to him?
Confronted with the question, Scrooge finds himself caught in a moment of indecision. He pauses, the weight of the question hanging in the air. This hesitation is a rare glimpse into Scrooge's inner turmoil, revealing a man not often lost for words, now uncertain how to answer. It's as if the thought of speaking to this person from his past or present brings a complexity of emotions he's unprepared to face. Recognizing his discomfort, the spirit reassures him.
Don't worry, Scrooge. You won't have to.
This statement offers Scrooge a momentary respite from his internal conflict, though the underlying tension remains. In a swift attempt to steer away from the discomfort of his previous hesitation, Scrooge quickly shifts the topic. His words, laced with a feigned nonchalance, aim to distract from his earlier uncertainty. It's a maneuver to regain his footing, to mask any perceived error in his reaction.
Shouldn't be too much of a trip with 15 bob a week. How far off can it be?
With a calculated casualness, he remarks on the modesty of the journey, insinuating that with limited means, the destination can't be far. This change in subject, a subtle but deliberate tactic, reveals Scrooge's discomfort with vulnerability and his habitual reliance on deflection when faced with challenging emotions.
A world away, Scrooge, at least that far.
As Scrooge and the spirit prepare to embark on their journey, stepping off the curb, the scene before them shifts abruptly. A solemn funeral procession makes its way into view, the heart-rending sight of a child's coffin leading the way. This somber image is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the shadow of mortality that looms over even the youngest. Trailing the coffin is a group of poorhouse children, their voices raised in song. The juxtaposition of their youthful voices against the backdrop of grief and loss paints a poignant picture, underscoring the harsh realities faced by the less fortunate in Scrooge's world.
That is the way to it, Scrooge.
Guided by the spirit, Scrooge moves beyond the solemnity of the procession, his journey through the evening's revelations continuing. Their path takes them past a scene of stark contrast, the Cratchit household, a haven of warmth and familial love. As they observe from a distance, Mrs. Cratchit is seen tending to her children, preparing them for bed in their humble home. They all share one bed, symbolizing both their close-knit bond and their modest means. Scrooge watches, perhaps reflecting on his own role in their lives, as Mrs. Cratchit's soothing words fill the air, offering comfort and hope to her children. "When you wake, you shall have all the pretty little horses," she whispers, her voice a lullaby of promises and dreams. After tenderly kissing them goodnight, she turns to Bob Cratchit by the hearth. Scrooge, alongside the spirit, takes in this scene, a poignant reminder of the strength and resilience found in the heart of this family, a stark contrast to the solitude of his own existence.
How did our little Tiny Tim behave?
Oh, as good as gold and better. He told me coming home that he hoped the people saw him in the church because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember upon Christmas Day who made the lame to walk and the blind to see.
He's a good boy.
Still in the company of the spirit of Christmas present, Scrooge remains an unseen observer in the Cratchit household. As they move closer to the heart of this family scene, their ethereal presence seems to subtly alter the room's atmosphere. Mrs. Cratchit, absorbed in caring for her family, suddenly pauses, sensing a faint draught. This slight change in the air, unnoticed by the others, prompts Mrs. Cratchit to rise and close the door against the perceived draught. Unseen by the family, the spirit swiftly ushers Scrooge further into the room just before the door shuts, ensuring their continued, invisible presence.
Hurry!
Scrooge, observing the scene from his spectral vantage point, can't help but comment under his breath.
Hardly hospitable is what I'd say.
His words, laced with irony, reflect his unawareness of how his own actions have shaped the Cratchit's reality.
Oh, they say a great deal more, Scrooge, if they could see you.
Oh, they should. Should they?
Well, I might have a word for them.
You're here to listen.
Oh, yes, all right, by the fire. But not a word.
Within the warmth of the Cratchit home, the scene continues to unfold, a stark contrast to the cold observation of Scrooge, who stands at the cusp of understanding the deeper impact of his life's choices. In the Cratchit household, the children now asleep, a quiet scene unfolds between Bob Cratchit and his wife. In a heartfelt gesture, Bob raises his glass, his actions echoing the enduring strength and love that bind his family together. This act, shared in the quiet company of his wife, is a humble yet poignant symbol of their gratitude and hope amidst life's trials. As Scrooge watches, hidden from sight but deeply affected, he's confronted with the stark contrast between the Cratchit's simple, joyous togetherness and his own isolated existence. This display of genuine warmth and unity in such modest surroundings silently reminds Scrooge of the profound impact of compassion and generosity. lessons that resonate all the more in the stillness of the Cratchit home.
My dear to Mr. Scrooge, I give you, Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and hope he'd have a good appetite for it.
My dear, Christmas Eve.
It should be Christmas Eve, I'm sure, when one drinks to the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert. Nobody knows it better than you do, poor dear.
I only know one thing on Christmas.
I'll drink to his health for your sake, and the day's, not for his. Long life to him. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt.
If he cannot be, we must be happy for him. A song is what's needed. Tim?
Shush! I've just gotten him down, and he needs all the sleep he can get.
If he's asleep on Christmas Eve, I'll be mistaken. Tim, he must sing, dear. There's nothing else that might make him well.
Bob Cratchit's gentle voice breaks the night stillness, asking Tiny Tim, "Are you awake?" In response, Tim's sleepy voice murmurs, "Just a little." Seizing this moment, Bob suggests a song, a cherished family tradition that brings comfort and joy to their home. Roused by their father's suggestion, the children, led by Tiny Tim, sit up in their bed. Together, they begin to sing a beloved Christmas carol, their voices harmonizing in a melody that weaves through the room. This simple act of shared song, a testament to their unity and love, resonates deeply with Scrooge as he listens.
Spirit, I've seen enough.
In the wake of Scrooge's heartfelt declaration, the spirit of Christmas present gently intervenes, signaling a subtle shift. The once vibrant chorus of the children's carol softly dwindles, their voices retreating into a tranquil hush that lingers in the air. Tiny Tim, shrouded in the dark blanket, becomes a quiet symbol of both his fragility and the enduring strength of his family's bond. As the melody of the carol gently fades, Scrooge is left to reflect on this moment, a poignant blend of joy and vulnerability that stirs something deep within him, challenging his long-held perspectives and awakening new understandings.
Tiny Tim, will he live?
He is very ill. Even song cannot keep him whole through a cold winter.
But you've not told me.
If he be like to die,
he'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
As the spirit of Christmas present's haunting echo of Scrooge's own words fades, Scrooge finds himself turning away, a gesture of discomfort and introspection. The stark repetition of his earlier callous remark. This moment marks a turning point for Scrooge, as the severity and reality of his words, now reflected back at him, settle deeply within his conscience. It's a powerful realization, one that begins to unravel his long-standing detachment and ignites a growing awareness of the impact his actions and attitudes have on the world around him.
Erase, Scrooge, those words from your thoughts. You are not the judge. Do not judge then.
It may be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthy, or worthless, and less fit to live like millions than this poor man's child. O God, to hear an insect on a leaf pronouncing that there is too much life hid among the hungry brothers in the dust.
Goodbye, Scrooge.
Is there no happiness in Christmas present?
There is.
Take me there.
It is at the home of your nephew.
No!
And there is none.
But that isn't enough. You must teach me.
Would you have a teacher, Scrooge? Look at your own words.
But the first spirit gave me more.
He was Christmas past. There was a lifetime he could choose from. I have only this day, one day, and you, Scrooge. I have nearly lived my fill of both. Christmas present must be gone at midnight. That is near now.
In the midst of his profound revelation, the spirit of Christmas present turns his attention to a poignant sight. Two beggar children, embodiments of poverty and neglect, appear, pausing shyly at a distance. Their thin, sickly forms, barefoot and clad in filthy rags, present a stark image of suffering and destitution. The spirit, with a compassionate and inviting gesture, beckons them closer.
Come,
he urges gently. Drawn to his kind presence, the children approach him, their tentative steps a testament to their wariness and the harshness of their lives. This encounter, witnessed by Scrooge, serves as a powerful symbol of the overlooked and forgotten, a vivid reminder of the harsh realities that exist alongside the joy and abundance of the season.
Is this the last spirit who is to come to me?
They are no spirits, they are real. Hunger, ignorance,
not spirits, Scrooge, passing dreams. They are real, they walk your streets,
look to you for comfort, and you deny them. Deny them not too long, Scrooge. They will grow and multiply, and they will not remain children.
Have they no place to go? No resource for help?
Are there no prisons?
Are there no workhouses?
In a moment both reflective and unsettling, the spirit of Christmas present once again echoes Scrooge's own harsh words back to him. This imitation, a mirror to Scrooge's earlier indifference to the suffering of others, resonates with a chilling clarity. Hearing his own sentiments repeated in this way, Scrooge is starkly confronted with the coldness and insensitivity of his past remarks. This powerful echo of his own voice, coming from the spirit, serves as a poignant reminder of the journey he has yet to complete in understanding the true spirit of compassion and empathy. As the spirit of Christmas present concludes his time with Scrooge, guiding the children to a safer, warmer place.
Come, it is Christmas Eve.
The environment around Scrooge begins to shift once more. In what feels like the blink of an eye, he finds himself back at his own house. The familiarity of his surroundings offering no comfort. The room is engulfed in shadows, a darkness that seems to creep closer, engulfing Scrooge in a cloak of apprehension. In this unsettling solitude, he senses another presence, an ominous aura that sends a shiver down his spine. Turning slowly, Scrooge comes face to face with the third spirit, the spirit of Christmas yet to come. Shrouded in a cloak, bent and mysterious, the spirit stands before him, its form indiscernible, yet its presence unmistakably foreboding. Scrooge, now confronted with this new spectral guide, braces himself for the revelations that await in this final chapter of his nocturnal odyssey.
You are the third. The ghost of Christmas yet to come. Speak to me.
In the dimly lit room, as Scrooge apprehensively faces the cloaked figure of the spirit of Christmas yet to come, he receives no words in return. The spirit's silence is profound and unsettling, a stark contrast to the previous spirit's guidance. This lack of response amplifies the air of mystery and foreboding surrounding the spirit, leaving Scrooge in a state of heightened anxiety. The absence of dialogue, the stillness that fills the room, becomes a powerful message in itself, conveying the seriousness and gravity of the revelations yet to unfold. Scrooge, realizing the gravity of this silent encounter, braces himself for what is to come, understanding that this spirit's lesson will be shown, not told.
Tell me what is to happen to me, all of us. Then show me what I must see.
In the silent, tense atmosphere, the spirit of Christmas yet to come raises a hand, extending a cloaked finger to point into the darkness. As if responding to this silent command, a light suddenly pierces the shadows, casting a revealing glow over Scrooge's house. This illumination, emerging from the depths of the night, brings into sharp focus the familiar, yet now ominous setting of Scrooge's own abode. The contrast between the enveloping darkness and this sudden shaft of light creates an almost spectral scene, heightening the sense of mystery and anticipation. Scrooge watches, his apprehension growing, as the spirit silently beckons him to observe what is to be revealed in this familiar yet transformed space.
I know it. I know it too well. Cold and cheerless. It is mine.
In the newly illuminated interior of Scrooge's house, two figures slowly become discernible. The cook and the charwoman, typically bustling figures in the background of daily life, now appear in a different light, their presence casting a sense of foreboding. Though only dimly visible, their silhouettes in the familiar setting of Scrooge's home take on a new significance under the watchful gaze of the silent spirit. This scene, usually alive with the ordinary activities of household staff, now holds a mysterious and eerie quality, hinting at untold stories and revelations yet to be uncovered by Scrooge.
There are thieves. There are thieves in my room.
In a moment of impulsive reaction, Scrooge starts to move forward, an instinctive urge to confront the cook and the charwoman arising within him. However, his advance is abruptly halted by the spirit of Christmas yet to come. The spirit, with a commanding yet silent gesture, beckons for Scrooge to stop. This simple act by the spirit, exerting control without a word, underscores the importance of observation over action in this spectral journey. Scrooge, compelled to obey, stands still, his intention to confront the figures in his house left unfulfilled. The tension in the air is palpable as Scrooge is reminded that his role is to witness, to learn from what is being shown, rather than to intervene.
I cannot. You cannot tell me that I must watch and do nothing. I will not. It's still mine.
Driven by a sudden surge of protectiveness, Scrooge rushes into his house, intent on claiming and safeguarding his belongings. Despite his urgency, the cook, a man engrossed in his own activities, and the charwoman, equally absorbed, remain unaware of Scrooge's spectral presence. They continue with their tasks, oblivious to the frantic movements of an unseen Scrooge. This inability to interact or be noticed underscores the ghostly nature of Scrooge's visit as he is forced to confront the reality of his situation, a silent witness to events he cannot control or influence.
He ain't about, is he? Poor old Scrooge is mad an end.
And time for it too. Ain't been alive indeed for half his life.
But the spots it's nowhere, is he?
From the shrouding darkness, a new presence makes itself known. Sparsit, emerging with a demeanor that carries both inquiry and intrigue. His sudden appearance in the dimly lit room startles the cook, eliciting a sharp, involuntary reaction. Meanwhile, the charwoman, practical and composed, views Sparsit's arrival with a calculating eye, her mind quickly assessing the potential competition he represents. This encounter, unfolding in the shadowy confines of Scrooge's house, adds another layer of complexity to the already tense atmosphere as each character navigates their own intentions and suspicions.
There ain't enough but for the two of us.
More than enough if you know where to look. Hardly decent is what I say. Hardly decent. The poor old fella hardly cold and you're thieving his wardrobe.
There's no time for that.
In a chilling turn of events, Sparsit acknowledges Scrooge directly for the first time. He gestures towards him, but not to the living, breathing Scrooge. Rather, he indicates where Scrooge would be if he were a lifeless corpse. This macabre acknowledgement sends a shiver down Scrooge's spine. He stands there as if rooted to the spot, a mix of horror and disbelief paralyzing him. The power of the spirit of Christmas yet to come holds him firmly in place, compelling him to face this grim and unsettling portrayal. The moment is heavy with significance as Scrooge is confronted with a stark and haunting representation of his own mortality.
He ain't about to bother us, is he?
Ain't he a picture?
If he is, he ain't a happy one. Shall we start? Cook?
In a sudden, bold move, the figure in the room reaches for Scrooge, snatching the cufflinks right from the shirt he wears. This act, swift and unceremonious, is laden with symbolism. the removal of personal items from one who is no longer able to claim ownership. The cufflinks, once a small token of Scrooge's wealth and status, are now mere objects to be taken, emphasizing the transient nature of material possessions. For Scrooge, witnessing this violation, the act is a stark and unsettling reminder of life's impermanence and the futility of clinging to worldly goods.
They're gold, ain't they?
I always had a fancy for that nightcap of his. My old man could use it.
The unfolding events take a bold turn as the charwoman audaciously removes the nightcap from Scrooge's head. This act, though done without malice, carries a heavy symbolism, the stripping away of Scrooge's personal effects in his own home. In a similar vein, Sparsit, with a hint of playfulness that belies the gravity of the situation, proceeds to remove Scrooge's familiar outer garment, his coat or cloak. These actions, removing items so closely tied to Scrooge's identity, underscore a profound truth. In the end, material belongings and external appearances hold little significance. For Scrooge, observing these acts in his spectral form, each item taken from his person resonates as a stark reminder of life's impermanence and the fleeting nature of earthly possessions.
Being a man of practical taste, I'll go for the worsted and hope the smell ain't permanent. Cook, we go round again?
Do you think that little bell he's always ringing at me is silver enough to sell?
In a moment fraught with tension, the figures in Scrooge's house, the charwoman, the cook, and Sparsit, gravitate towards the nightstand, drawn as if by a shared, unspoken purpose. Their movement, deliberate and unified, adds to the sense of foreboding that permeates the air. Scrooge, an unseen spectator to this intrusion into his personal space, finds himself overwhelmed by a surge of emotion. Unable to contain himself, he cries out, his voice echoing in the spectral realm. This cry, filled with distress and helplessness, is a stark contrast to his usual composure. It's a visceral response to the invasion of his privacy and the stark realization of his vulnerability, even in the sanctity of his own home.
No more! No more!
Amidst the tension and unease, the spirit of Christmas yet to come directs Scrooge's focus to a particularly unsettling sight, the three figures, now resembling thieves, poised over his silver bell. This tableau, a stark embodiment of violation and disrespect, becomes too much for Scrooge. In a burst of desperation and distress, he finds himself impulsively rushing out of his house, his usual attire abandoned for just his nightshirt. This abrupt exit, driven by a mix of horror and disbelief, underscores the profound impact of what he's witnessing. Scrooge, usually so composed and guarded, is now laid bare, both literally and figuratively, as he confronts the harsh truths revealed by the spirit.
I cannot. The room is too like a cheerless place that is familiar. I won't see it. Let us go from here anywhere.
Guided by the silent yet compelling gesture of the spirit, Scrooge's attention shifts to a new setting, the humble abode of the Cratchit family. In this haven of modest warmth and love, the children are gathered close together near Mrs. Cratchit, who is engaged in the careful task of sewing a coat. The picture is one of domestic tranquility and resilience, each stitch a symbol of her dedication to her family's well-being. Meanwhile, Peter, making the most of the faint glow from the coals, immerses himself in reading, a testament to the family's appreciation for life's simpler pleasures. This scene, illuminated by the dim yet comforting light, offers a stark contrast to the opulence and solitude of Scrooge's existence. It's a vivid reminder of the joys and struggles of everyday life that Scrooge has long overlooked. In the cozy yet dimly lit Cratchit household, Mrs. Cratchit pauses in her sewing, placing a hand gently to her face. A soft admission escapes her lips, revealing the strain on her eyes from trying to see by the meager firelight.
The light tires my eyes so,
she confesses. Then, after a brief pause, assures,
They're better now.
Her concern is clear. She wishes to present a cheerful, untroubled face to her husband upon his return, not wanting to worry him with the evidence of her strain.
It makes them tired to try to see by firelight, and I wouldn't show reddened eyes to your father when he comes home for the world. It must be near his time now,
she explains. Her words reflect a deep devotion and care for her family's emotional well-being, as she anticipates Bob Cratchit's return, noting that it must be nearing his time. This tender scene, underscored by her resilience and loving consideration, paints a vivid picture of the everyday challenges and affections that bind the Cratchit family together.
Past it, I think, but he walks slower than he used to these last few days, Mother.
I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder very fast indeed. But he was very light to carry, and his father loved him, so that it was no trouble.
In the midst of her quiet reflections, Mrs. Cratchit's attention is suddenly drawn to the sound of approaching footsteps, the familiar, comforting tread of her husband, Bob Cratchit. A sense of expectation fills the room as she instinctively calls for a cheerful front. Smiles, everyone, smiles. It's a gentle reminder to her family to present a facade of happiness, to make Bob's return home as welcoming and joyful as possible, despite their hardships. No sooner are the words spoken than Bob himself enters, his presence bringing with it the final piece of the familial puzzle, completing the picture of the Cratchit household's evening routine.
My dear Peter.
Upon entering, Bob Cratchit warmly greets each of his children, calling them by their names. This personal, affectionate acknowledgement serves as a testament to the close bond he shares with his family, each name spoken a symbol of their individual importance in the loving Cratchit household.
How is it coming?
Nearly done.
Yes, good. I'm sure that it will all be done long before Sunday.
Sunday. You went today then, Robert?
Yes, it's all ready. 2:00, and a nice place. I would have done you good to see how green it is, but you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there on Sunday, often.
We mustn't hurt ourselves for it, Robert.
No, he wouldn't have wanted that. Come now, you won't guess who I've seen. Scrooge's nephew Fred, and he asked after us, and he said heartily sorry, and to give his respect to my good wife. However he knew that, I don't know.
Knew what, my dear?
Why, that you were a good wife. Heartily sorry, he said, for your good wife, and if I can be of any service to you in any way. And he gave me this card. That's where I live, and Peter, I shouldn't be at all surprised if he got you a position.
Only hear that, Peter?
And then you'll be keeping company with some young girl and setting up for yourself.
Oh, go on.
Well, it will happen one day. But remember, when that day does come, as it must, we must none of us forget poor Tiny Tim and his first parting in our family.
He died. No.
As the sounds and sensations of the Cratchit family's presence gradually fade, Scrooge finds himself stepping back, a reflexive response to the shifting focus of his spectral journey. This moment of retreat is as much emotional as it is physical, highlighting a pause in his immersive experience. The disappearance of the Cratchit's warm and familial atmosphere leaves a lingering impression on Scrooge, a poignant reminder of the fleeting nature of these ghostly glimpses into the lives of others. As he distances himself from the spirit of Christmas yet to come, Scrooge is left to contemplate the profound impact of what he has just witnessed.
Because he would not. No, you cannot tell me that he has died, for that Christmas has not come. I will not let it come. I will be there. It was me. Yes, and I knew it. I couldn't look. I won't be able to help. I won't. Spirit, hear me. I'm not the man that I was. I will not be the man that I've been for so many years. Why show me all this if I'm beyond hope? Assure me that I yet may change these shadows that you have shown me. Let the boy live. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all year. I will in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I'm not too late.
In an abrupt shift, the world around Scrooge plunges into darkness, a momentary blackout that signals a transition in his extraordinary journey. When the sense of awareness returns, Scrooge finds himself back in the familiar surroundings of his own bed, the stark contrast to his recent experiences leaving him disoriented. The third spirit, the silent guide of his most recent journey, is nowhere to be seen, having vanished as mysteriously as it appeared. Scrooge awakens fully, his eyes searching the room, taking in the reality of his surroundings. The quiet of his own chamber feels both comforting and surreal after the night's spectral events. He is left alone with his thoughts, the silence around him a stark canvas against which the lessons of the night still echo.
The curtains! They're mine, they're real. They've not been sold. They are here, I am here. The shadows to come may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will be.
In a burst of newfound energy and purpose, Scrooge sets about dressing himself with an uncharacteristic haste. Each movement is swift and decisive, a stark contrast to his usual deliberate manner. This hurried dressing is more than a mere physical action. It symbolizes Scrooge's eagerness to embrace the lessons he has learned from his nocturnal visitors. The urgency with which he dons his attire reflects a deep inner transformation, a readiness to act and to make amends, spurred by the profound revelations of the night.
I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather, merry as a boy again. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! A Happy New Year to all the world! What day of the month is it? How long did the spirits keep me? Never mind, I don't care!
Filled with a sense of urgency and renewal, Scrooge strides to the window, flinging it open to reveal the world outside. Fresh morning air floods into the room, symbolizing the new beginning that awaits him. Leaning out, he calls down to a boy in the street below, his voice carrying the excitement of a man who's undergone a profound change overnight. This interaction, a bridge between the solitary confinement of his room and the bustling life of the street, marks Scrooge's reconnection with the world he has long ignored. The simple act of reaching out to another person, especially a child, signifies a dramatic shift in Scrooge's character and his newfound desire to engage with and contribute to the life around him.
Boy, what's today?
Eh?
What's the day, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, Christmas Day?
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can save Tim. Do you know the meat shop on the next street at the corner?
I should hope I do.
An intelligent boy. Remarkable boy. Do you know whether they sold the prize turkey that hangs up there? Not the little prize. The big one.
What, the one as big as me?
What a delightful boy. Yes, my bucko.
It's hanging there now.
It is? Go and buy it.
Oh, go on.
Go and buy it. Tell them to bring it here, and I'll give them directions on where to take it. Come back with the butcher, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back in less than 2 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown.
Having delivered his energetic instructions, Scrooge steps away from the window, his heart buoyant with a joy unfamiliar but deeply felt. As he moves, his mind whirls with the realization of the change he's undergoing.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. They'll never know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim, and such a Christmas dinner it'll make. I've got to get dressed. I must. It's Christmas Day. I must be in all my best for such a day. Where's my China silk shirt?
No longer the cold, unfeeling miser of yesterday, he now finds himself driven by a desire to spread joy and generosity. The promise of rewarding the boy and butcher, a small yet significant gesture, is a testament to his newfound eagerness to make a positive impact. In these quiet moments, away from the window, Scrooge reflects on the ripple effect of his actions, how a simple deed can spark a wave of goodwill. The thought of the turkey, soon to be a gift to a family in need, fills him with a sense of purpose and satisfaction, marking the beginning of a new chapter in his life. The boy, accompanied by the butcher, arrives in a flurry of excitement, bringing with them a large turkey. Their arrival, swift and lively, is a burst of activity that invigorates the previously quiet morning. The sight of the boy and the butcher, each playing their part in delivering the turkey, is a vivid symbol of the community and cooperation that Scrooge has just begun to appreciate. This scene, marked by the simple joy of a shared task and the promise of a generous gesture, reflects the new path Scrooge has chosen, one of kindness, generosity, and connection with those around him.
What? Back already? It's such a turkey! Well, you can't carry that all the way to Cratchit's. Here, boy, here's half a crown, and here's an address to Camden Town. See that it gets there. Here, money for the cab, for the turkey, and for you, my good man.
In a moment brimming with cheerfulness, the boy and the butcher react with delight as Scrooge tosses them money for their efforts. Their hands deftly catch the coins in midair, a symbol of the newfound generosity that Scrooge is embracing. With bright faces and laughter, they quickly make their exit, running off to continue their day, energized by this unexpected turn of events. As they depart, Scrooge's gaze shifts to the world outside his window. It is there he spots the gentleman visitor, a familiar figure from his recent past, walking by. This sighting stirs something within Scrooge, a reminder of his previous life and the opportunities that now lay before him to make amends and positively impact those around him.
Well, hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
My dear sir, how do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you to stop and see me.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yes, that's me. I know my name probably doesn't bring you the best of memories, but please accept my apologies for that. And here, I'd like to contribute to your wonderful cause.
Lord bless me, my dear Mr. Scrooge. Are you serious?
If you please, not a penny less. A great many back payments are included in it, I can assure you. But will you do me a favor?
My dear sir, I don't know what I can say to such generosity.
Say nothing. Accept it. Come and see me. Will you come and see me?
I will.
Thank you so much. I'm much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. God bless you and Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Scrooge hurries downstairs with a speed that reflects his urgent desire to begin a new chapter in his life. As he exits his house, the barrier between him and the outside world diminishes. The street, once a mere backdrop to his solitary existence, now beckons as a realm of possibilities and connections. This simple act of stepping out into the bustling world signifies a profound shift in Scrooge, from an onlooker behind closed doors to an active participant in the vibrant tapestry of life around him.
All right, now which way is it to my nephew's house?
As Scrooge steps out into the lively street, his actions mirror his transformed spirit. It's at this moment a coachman appears, materializing into Scrooge's new narrative of change and generosity. Scrooge, without a moment's delay, approaches the coachman and hands him a card. This gesture, simple yet significant, is a display of Scrooge's eagerness to make connections and extend his Newfound kindness. The card, a representation of his intent, marks a departure from his past self, as he now reaches out to others in a spirit of giving and engagement.
Can you show me the way to this house?
I can, sir.
Good man.
In a swift exchange marked by newfound warmth and eagerness, as he invites the coachman to accompany him on a significant journey, to guide an old man to a Christmas dinner. The simplicity of the request belies its profound significance, marking a departure from Scrooge's past aloofness. This moment, as they mount the taxi, symbolizes Scrooge's ascent not just to a vehicle, but to a new way of living, guided by kindness, connection, and a desire to share in the joy of the season.
Driver, to Christmas!
As the story reaches its heartfelt conclusion, we find ourselves in the warm, inviting atmosphere of Fred's house, bustling with the joy of the Cratchit family, including Tiny Tim. Amidst the laughter and conversation, a hush falls over the room as a new presence is felt. It's Scrooge, standing somewhat awkwardly in the center, his demeanor a mixture of embarrassment and humility. This moment marks a significant transformation for Scrooge as he steps into the heart of a family gathering he once would have shunned. The surprise and pause of the guests reflect the unexpectedness of his appearance. A man once feared and avoided, now seeking connection and forgiveness. Scrooge's presence, once a source of dread, now holds a promise of reconciliation and new beginnings. In a moment brimming with genuine emotion, Scrooge declares with heartfelt sincerity, "Well, I'm very glad to be here at my nephew's house." His voice quavers as he is overcome with emotion, tears of joy and relief, marking his profound transformation. "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas," he exclaims, his newfound joy contagious. The room responds in a chorus of soft, warm voices, "Merry Christmas," embracing both the man and the moment. In a delightful display of affection, Scrooge lifts Tiny Tim onto his shoulders, an act reflecting his deep change of heart. As the carol concludes, Tiny Tim's voice rings out clear and hopeful, "God bless us, everyone." This jubilant declaration from the child resonates with a powerful message of hope and unity, perfectly capturing the spirit of the occasion.
Oh, yes. God bless us, everyone.
Hey there, thanks for listening to this very special episode of Deceptive Reality Podcast. We really enjoyed making this.
It's a labor of love.
It's
exactly what this is, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
We wanted to bring something special to everybody, something that's a little bit different. This is by far not what we normally do. So if you check this out, you've never listened to Deceptive Reality before, don't expect this every time, okay? We set the bar a little high on this one.
This is our Christmas gift to you. You get to open it the night before. And we do have a Christmas gift for you tomorrow on the day as well.
Oh, snap. Everyone complains about us doing these two-parters. Listen, we're giving back two back-to-back, one Christmas Eve, one Christmas Day.
That's right. We had to. Three Ghosts warned us that if we don't account for our sins of two-parters this year by making a two-parter, we're going to be in trouble.
That's the truth. Listen, it's not our fault. I've been telling y'all, not our fault. It's Ghost's fault.
That's right. It's the ghost. It's the ghost. But we've really enjoyed doing this. We hoped you loved it as well. And you better get in bed because Santa won't visit if the kids are still awake.
What's that? Is that click-clackety clacks on the roof I hear, Nick?
I hear it. I hear it.
Oh, no, it's Santa Claus. You better get to bed.
Get to bed.
Until we all see you in the next podcast, Merry Christmas. Don't forget to check out tomorrow's episode. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas. Goodbye.